Welcome to Smacky's Garage. It's that time of year again where us in the Northeast are starting to put our cars away for winter. In this video, I'm going to cover kind of what I do each year to get the car ready for winter to make sure that we have a successful first start come spring. If you live up here in the Northeast, you know what it's like. Where snow's coming, it's freezing out. It's currently about 32 degrees outside and you're not driving the car because salt's going to be on the road. In this video, we'll cover how I put my car away for winter and get ready to do projects for the upcoming few months. Let's get into it. The first thing that you need to do and that I do is I want to make sure that the fuel system is good. It's not getting gummed up. There's no varnish happening. So I fill the fuel system with Stable. I typically start with a half tank of gas. I'll put a full tank's worth of Stable in it, and then I'll go to the gas station and I'll fill up the tank full. The Stable, what it does is it prevents gum and varnish from building up in the fuel system. That's something that you don't want when you start the car for the first time next year because, if you have a clogged carburetor, you're not going to be running. After we fill it up, I run the car for 5 to 10 minutes to make sure that it moves around in the gas tank, and then I put the car back in the garage. The reason why you want to keep the fuel tank full is because you want to make sure that you don't get any moisture in the tank. And if there's no room for water to get in, if there's no room for moisture, then it's not going to happen. The next thing you want to do is change the oil. There's a big debate around, are you going to be changing the oil first thing in the spring or before you put the car away for winter? I personally like to change the oil before I put the car away for winter. The oil from the previous year could have contaminants in it, and that's something that you don't want sitting around in the engine and the oil pan over the winter. By changing the oil going into winter, you're prepared when the next season comes to just get off and driving. I typically don't change oil come spring unless I'm taking the engine apart and I have some chance of getting contaminants in the fresh oil. Next, I check the fluid levels, including antifreeze levels, make sure the oil level is good, and potentially the transmission fluid. Now, you need to make sure that you have antifreeze in the car over winter, especially if you're going to be storing it in the cold, if it's going to be outside. That way you don't have any issues with ice buildup in the block and the radiator, and it'll cause a bad time for your vehicle. So make sure that you check all fluid levels, you have the right fluid in them, and you're ready to go for the next year. The next thing that I like to do is keep the battery on a battery tender and keep the battery disconnected so that there's no drain on the vehicle. By doing this, you make sure that your battery is going to stay topped off over the entire winter and that you don't have any starting issues starting up in the spring. If you do let your battery freeze over winter and it is dead, there's a good chance that your battery's toast. I've had that happen to me. Don't let it happen to you. Make sure you keep your battery fully charged and in a safe spot. Next, I like to give the car a good wash. It's important that you wash your car before you put it away so that while you're working on it, you don't rub anything into the paint or when you're handling the car, you don't cause any issues with the paint. So always make sure that you give it a good wash. And especially if you're going to be doing your next step, which is covering the car. I need to purchase a new cover, so let me know down in the comments which ones people recommend. I've been looking and I need some feedback on it, so let me know which covers you prefer. I had a cheap one last year and it didn't work out too well. It actually ended up ripping, so let me know which one I should have. Next is you want to make sure your car is in a good, safe storage location. You want to make sure your car is not accessible to anyone else, and you want to make sure that it's held at the right temperature if you have the opportunity to do that. If you can, keep the air around the car above dew point so that you're not getting any moisture forming. The next thing you want to do, and the last thing you want to do, is you want to make a catalog or a list of all the projects you're going to do over the winter. I have a lot of projects that are coming up that you should subscribe, you should watch for them. I'm going to end up putting YouTube videos on all of them, but making that list of projects that you can check off as you go through the winter kind of keeps you motivated. So make sure you make that list. You know, if it's going to be digital, if it's going to be on cardboard, make sure you put it somewhere so that you can watch your progress and you're happy with it. You know, it's really a sad day to put the car away. No one wants to do that at the end of the year. I envy all you in Florida that don't have to put their cars away and can enjoy the weather. But, you know, it's a good time to shut down and do some projects. So thanks for tuning in to Smacky's Garage today. I hope this video was useful for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow for the upcoming projects and videos.